Hi guys! So today we are going to do a layered heat transfer vinyl design, and I've picked one that has quite a few layers. And as you can see, we have black and gray, 2 shades of red, 2 shades of blue, this flesh toned white and blonde. So we've got quite a few layers. And so the first thing that I need to do is I need to size this file to fit on the shirt. So I'm going to go to the right and click on my transform menu and then scale, and I want to click my aspect lock ratio. I'm doing an adult medium, and so for adult, extra small through extra large, 10 by 10 or 11 by 11 is about the max that I like to do. And so since this one's taller than it is wide, we are going to set it to 10 inches tall, and it's going to adjust the width and apply. So now we have it the size that we need. I'm going to turn on my grid lines. I like to have those on my crosshairs. There we go. And there's a few different ways you can do this. So the easiest way to cut the different layers is to cut by color. And to do that, first we want to mirror our image because we are cutting this out of heat transfer vinyl. We want to mirror. So we're going to place this here. And then if you go to send and then set your material, I use a lot of user created materials. So do easy weed, and then if you go to action, and this menu is going to change soon, but this is going to be the same. And so you can do your simple, which if we put it to cut, everything's going to cut. You can do it by line color, but we only have a few line colors, so we don't want to do that. We do it by fill color. It's going to show you all of the fill color options that you have. And so you can turn all of them off, and you'll notice that the lines around the colors are turning off. And so what you would do is, so say first you want to cut the black, and so you just click black, and it's going to cut. And you can see there's circles here, or a line there, and a line here, and it's going to cut those out of the black. I'm not sure why it's doing the eyes. It might be an extra layer. I'll have to look at that. And then you could cut your blonde, and then your lighter blue. And this is great. The only problem I have with this is that you get a lot of vinyl waste, because when you're cutting this dark blue, unless you put your piece of vinyl right there to cut, you're going to waste all the vinyl around. Adhesive vinyl I don't worry about so much, but heat transfer vinyl is a lot more expensive. So it's a gray. So as you can see, I can't drag it, but it's only going to cut here, these little pieces up here, and right in here. So all of this extra bit would be wasted. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go back to design, and we're going to right and ungroup. So that ungroups all of the little pieces. And so I'm going to pull them apart and separate them. So there's our black. We have that. And then it also had these eyes that were black, which is a layer on top of the blue. So let's save that over here. And then we have our gray. So we have gray here. We have gray here. Let's pull those off to the side. And then we have blonde. And this is nice. The designer has these grouped together to make this very easy for us. And we have our red. So we have red here. Red here. And the mouth. And then we have our dark blue. We don't have much of that. Let's move that over there. And then our light blue. Zoom out a little bit. Move these here. And then our dark red. Our white. I think those are also white. And our flesh tone. So there's all our different pieces. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the black. Oh, we have more white. Let's turn those cut lines black so that we can see what we have. Okay. So that should be everything. Yes. So I'm going to start with the black, and I'll move the black in here. And the eyes, I'll put those up here, just so that we're using as little vinyl as possible. So you'll notice I have my crosshairs turned on. They're the little lines that are sticking out from my mouse. And so I believe it's Designer Edition and above that has this, but Designer and above also has this ruler. And you can also turn on your grids and count how many grids. But what I like to do is I will line up so I'll put my mouse right here. And I can see on my crosshairs, if you follow this crosshair all the way up to the ruler up top, you can see that this falls at about 8.5 inches, maybe a little wider than 8.5 inches. And the bottom crosshair, so I'm looking, you'll see up here where this crosshair falls. And then the crosshair on the bottom is falling at just past 10 inches. So I need a piece of vinyl that's 8.5 by 10 inches roughly to cut this. So we'll cut the black, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that off the mat, and I'll cut the dark red, I will cut the flesh tone, I will cut the blonde, and I'm going to do that for each piece of the color, and then we'll come back and we will weed and we will press our shirt. Okay, so we have all of our colors cut, and so now we're going to weed. And after I weed, because my press is in the basement, I have a binder, a weeded heat transfer vinyl binder, and it's just full of page protectors. And so I stick the weeded HTV down with the sticky side down, just on the outside. And some of like glitter heat transfer vinyl and the holographic doesn't really like to stick, or really small pieces. And so those I'll just stick inside. But like I'll put the project I'm working on inside, and then I'll just stick to the front and the back of the paper the different pieces. And again, if it doesn't stick, I'll just stick it inside with the carrier sheet sticky side towards this and not towards the paper. But you'll kind of see how that works as I'm going. And I do want to mention I have my heated desk pad. I've had a lot of comments and questions about this. It is a heated desk pad. I'll post a link for that as well. But it has off, low, and high, and I only turn it on when I'm weeding heat transfer vinyl because it softens up the vinyl and makes it easier to weed. Comes off the carrier sheet a lot easier. And so I've had this on as I've been cutting the pieces and then just laying them on here to soften them up a couple minutes, and then I leave it on while I weed. And so that helps out. I don't turn it on for adhesive vinyl. Even though I use it, it's easier on my tools, the tips of my tools, to keep them from getting damaged from the glass desk. It's really hard. It's better for my hand fatigue since it's not such a hard surface. But again, I only turn it on when I'm weeding heat transfer vinyl. So here we go. Okay, so we've got everything weeded. As you can see, if I pull this out, they're stuck to the outside of the page protector, and some of them I nested together to cut easier. And waste less vinyl, like the eyes here, and part of our shirt. And so we'll cut those apart when we get down and get ready to layer. But everything's here, it's stuck to place. I don't have to worry about it sticking to anything it shouldn't. And up next, we're going to press it on the shirt. Alright guys, we're ready to apply our heat transfer vinyl. And so the first thing that I want to do is to find the center mark of my shirt. And so I'm going to take the shirt at the seams under the arms. So if you go under the arms and take the little seam right there and just fold the shirt in half, and then I'm going to place it on the press, and I'm just going to press it down for a minute. And then, so that gives us our horizontal seam, and then I'm going to fold it in half long ways, lining everything up. This is going to give our vertical center. Again, just going to press it for a second. And this is the 16 by 24 Fancier Studio Power Heat Press. Bought it on Amazon. But you can see now we have the center mark on our shirt, so we know where we want the center of our design to go. So I'm just going to lay this on the press. My lighting here is not that fabulous. Okay. All the lint off. Little cat hairs or dog hairs or dust or anything like that. And this is the Hanes Nano Tees. These are my favorite t-shirts to use. And so I have my guide here for how it's going to be, and I just set that to the side. And I'm going to start with black as my base layer. And so when I cut the black, I left this right edge here so I knew what was going to be up and down and left and right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it in half and just kind of crease the carrier sheet. So I'm kind of making a crease in the carrier sheet so I can find the center, and then I'm going to do it the same this way. Making sure I line those creases up right there. I'm just going to crease to find the center. So what we're going to do is line up those creases with the lines that we made when we pressed the shirt just a second ago. So if you can see, I have lined up this crease here, this crease here, the one at the bottom, and the one on the left. And this is Caesar heat transfer vinyl. So, well, it's set right there. Yeah, that's better than nothing. Which has like a 1 or 2 second tack time. So one of the biggest issues that you have when you're layering heat transfer vinyl is that it shrinks. And so we do not want the vinyl to shrink prematurely. So we are just going to press it for just a few seconds to get that layer pressed down. Press, and that's it. And so should be able to go ahead and remove our carrier sheet. I don't know if you can tell that this is a navy blue shirt, but this black is really just an outline in the background. Alright, so our next layer, we go by here, can really be anything around here. I am going to, I'm going to start with the blonde. I think that's going to be our best bet to start with. So I'm going to, if you can zoom in, Taylor, that'd be great. Because these carrier sheets are clear, it's very easy to see exactly where you want to go. Again, I'm going to use my image here. And I want to just get it lined up just where I want it. Little. Carrier sheet does want to stick to that vinyl. A little hard to see the black through this with it being on the gray background. But I think we've got it. Okay, so we have the blonde. So again, just going to use that real quick tack time. And pull that layer. Alright, so now we'll move on to the light blue. And because these pieces don't overlap until we get to the eyes. I'm not super worried about the order that we do them in. Oh, we need to cut this apart. So like I said earlier, I nested some of the cuts to save on vinyl waste. And so I'm going to cut out this section here. I'm left with just the ponytail and part of the hair. So again, I'm just going to line this up. And I'm just eyeballing it. The clear transfer layer really helps to get that lined up. And I'm not even going to lock the press. I'm just going to tack that down and then pull up that carrier sheet. So the issue, can you zoom in? The issue that I'm having right here is with lining it up. It's not aligning exactly where I want the ponytail to line up, and then this part right here to line up. So I'm just going to cut that piece off. Right there. And then I can line up this red exactly where I want it. Without letting that other piece dictate where I'm going. So I'm going to press that. The last piece, so I'm going to press this one for just a few seconds, and then we are going to do our final press, and I'm just going to do this for about 10 seconds, and that's it. And so we are done. So now we're going to go take a picture.